So Brian and Chris, can you tell me a little bit about Marley and about your family?
Well, Marley was our youngest granddaughter. She was 3 months when she passed away. We have a second granddaughter, Mia, who's like a year and a bit 18 months older than her. And we have two daughters. Both girls are our youngest daughters, two girls. And and we've got a lovely young son-in-law and a lovely young elder daughter. And
Our lives were complete.
And it was all great, and unfortunately one day she got sick. It was all happy at Christmas time, and sort of birthday was coming up in January, and she was sick a couple of days before that, and then she sort of got progressively sicker and sicker, and it went sort of from January the 7th, when the birthday was, sort of on through until Valentine's Day, 14th February, when she was diagnosed with leukemia. Everybody was full of hope and confidence, and come to the point when there was just no end to it, and she passed away on the I forgot the day now, 13th of April. So she sort of did 18 days in intensive care. It was very hard, and she passed away at night. 6 o'clock at night was the night before. They'd sort of given we'd all got together and told us it was okay to go, and that's where we're at. Horrible, really. But I told you I'd cry.
Okay, so just to backtrack a little bit, what do you remember about the time that Marley was diagnosed? How were you told?
I was told, I was meeting Becky at the hospital, and she was having tests, and I asked Beck to come down and let me know which room she was in. Beck came down by herself, and she said to me, "Mum, I've got something to tell you." She said, "Marley's got cancer, leukemia, but she's going to be all right." But I can't talk.
So, and I went to work that day because it had been sort of on and off, and we weren't expecting any good news. We were terrified, and they rang me and told me at work, and I sort of just come home. But we'd sort of been, even though it was only a short period of time between early January to early February, it was an absolute nightmare, really, for everybody trying to work out what was wrong. It was just, we had an awfully sick little girl, and that part, once the treatment started, it was fantastic in a way. We knew what was wrong. We had positive answers, and we could move forward, and we did that with every ounce of effort we could sort of summon. And having people at the hospital to be there for the kids and be there for Marley, it was, we've got to do it. We'll just do it. Yeah. But it's hard bloody work, there's no doubt about it. And it's stressful, and everybody says, "She'll be right, mate, she'll be right, mate." And that was what we were all hoping for. We gave it every chance.
So, and that period where Marley was having treatment, what role did you have in that?
Just being there for Beck and Sam and Mimi, trying to help as much as we can. Took Mia home a few times. Back again the next day. Went on for a while.
It was just support was all we could give, and it was all that was needed. Everything else was sort of there. Once the hospital kicked into gear, it organised this, organised that. social workers organised themselves, the Cure Our Kids and the Leukemia Foundation, and everybody was coming along with all their things, and then we just had to make sure that
We're there for their concern.
if something had to be done, we'd make sure it was done. You know, we had to be there, one of us would be there to do it. So it wasn't a matter of, no, we can't go, we're going to go. So that was our role, to help out as much as we possibly could. And, at times we organised other people to help out too, you know, so, and friends, you know, come and helped, and family come down, and you know, even though they sort of can't do a lot, they come down and try to
Give support.
And how did it impact on your lives in terms of your work and your family?
Well, I wasn't working it most of the time. I was sort of, I'd just get up and go to the hospital, and Brian would come after work and meet us there. We stayed there till about 10:30, go home, do that, get up, do the same thing the next day for at least 10 days or more straight out, you know.
It's very draining, and then, you know.
Tiring.
You're late nights every night of the week, and you know, you had to sort of force yourself to come. Well, I don't want to leave the kids at hospital on their own. You've got to come home and get some sleep as well. But it's demanding. There's no other way around it. Like, that's, you know, and there's only so much support people can give. I mean, Mum's always going to be at the hospital, and you know, as a grandparent, you've got to get up and walk away, but at the same time, you want to be there to help as much as you can. You know? So, it just becomes a more complicated situation, I think. It was, it wasn't good. It was all okay, and until the intensive care part happened. It was all going well. The nurses were wonderful. They were pulling faces through windows and joking, and clown doctors were walking in and out, and the results were coming in good, even though poor little Marley had these horrible tests and horrible things that had to happen every couple of days a week. She was managing to cope quite well. She hated steroids and drove everybody mad with what food she wanted, and she couldn't explain what food she wanted, so we'd go and cook 20 different things, and all she wanted was a biscuit out of the cupboard. But all those sorts of things were, when you look back, they were quite easy to handle until the intensive care part come that none of us were expecting. It was like a kick in the guts. One day we were getting huge, fantastic results, and the next day it was sort of scary as hell. And even that was pretty okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's only a small little thing. We'll get over this. We'll get over this, and progress to a point where we're all getting scared, terribly scared. And as a grandparent, all you can do is be there to hug somebody. Really, you can't do much more. Probably need to tend yourself. But we didn't. We could not be there. We had to be there as much as we possibly could. But it's the same thing. You had to turn away and say, "Look, I've got to go home, kids. I've got a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning."
What kind of support did you have for yourselves at that time?
Just friends, more or less, and family. But we're just too busy just to even think about it. We just often go in every morning, back home at night. You didn't get time to even ring up or talk to anybody, just so exhausted. And
mobile phones were flat every day. You didn't have spare batteries. It was one thing we needed. But work was pretty good too. They were quite supportive in it, and everybody's full of confidence. And there's good results now. It's kick ass now. 95%. No worries. And so everybody's supportive and encourages us. Everybody you'll be right, mate. You'll be right. It's not a question of anybody. You ask somebody, they'd give you help. It's whether you're game enough to ask. It's another thing, whereas we all should, I suppose. But we're all proud and no, won't do that, don't need you. That's all right. But A lot of people give you a hug and it helps. You know, that helps a lot.
Thinking about Marley's time in intensive care and the time around her death, what are some of the things that you remember from that period of time?
It was a whirlwind. There's a beautiful tree outside the hospital. You sit there and look at it and watch the seeds get bigger and bigger and bigger. The cleaner that comes in and out every day is a nice guy. You just sit there and wait. You sit there and hope. You sit there and think. You put a lot of trust in people. There's a lot of people come and go. They come, people go. You're not alone in being there. There's hundreds of other people more going through the same process, sitting outside and the same thing for hours on end. And it's all a bloody horribly scary thing. You sort of, because you're there and you're thinking, you're not reading a book because you can't, because you're out thinking, that sort of stuff. You go into intensive care and you see what's happening and you know that you can't help. You just got to sit down and shut up and help when you can.
Did you have an opportunity to say goodbye to Marley?
Yeah, I told Mama. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I still remember the last words she said to me. I said, Nenny has to go now. And she said, I want Daddy. And that I was just thinking the other day, they're the last words that she said to me. I talked to her all the time. She was on life support. No, we said goodbye, but whether she heard us or not, yeah.
Yeah, we'd been told by the doctors that she was near a point where she was now deteriorating and it wouldn't be long. And we were with Beck when she said goodbye, and we said goodbye and told her it was okay, and she didn't have to fight anymore because she fought unbelievably. She fought and fought and fought, and I wouldn't have fought like that. Becky had told her she could go, and it was less than 24 hours later she did. So. But we all had that opportunity then to say goodbye.
I remember it. We took off to the airport to pick my sister up. We got caught in traffic, and by the time we got back to the hospital, Sam's running out to tell us to come in. Well, I went and washed my hands and everything, thinking not the worst. And she was gone. Yeah. I thought I'd be able to have a little bit more time with her, because I thought picking my sister up, getting back to the hospital, the traffic was just chaos, you know. We just kept saying, hope she's still there, hope she's still there. And by the time I got up to the ward, she just passed. So, yeah.
And the time after that, sort of around the funeral, what was that like?
Terrible, yeah. Just, Beck had a lot of friends to help, like a couple of friends that helped her out and helped. So Brian and I really didn't have to do too much. They organised everything with Beck, and you know, that was good actually. We didn't have to do anything. So made us, you know, like a little bit easier. But we had family come up, and you know, and it's just, I don't know, just terrible, like it would be.
Yeah. We were at a point where there's nothing else you could do. You just got to move forward to the next point. And I'd said to Chris, I'll go and straight over in the morning and you know, go and see Sam and Beck and say, well, you know, we've got to do the funeral. What are you doing? what do you want to do and how do you want to do it, and Ramon stepped up the mark, and one of Sam's, his cousin, and he said, let me organise all that, and which he did, and I just said, look, if you need me, you just scream because I'm coming, and then just occupied ourselves as best we could to do anything we could do to make it easier and smoother, and you know, take Beck shopping to go and get the little outfit and do all the things that had to be done. We just got to it and got it done, and then there was people that couldn't come and other people that could, so they'd ring up and then organise people and organise motel bookings and all the things that had to be done, because they're all country people, most of us. And it took a bit of work. There was plenty to do. Wasn't none of it was
you
good
just
stuff.
got to keep yourself occupied.
And but it was all had to be done, and we just had to move forward and do it. And last minute, run to buy a new suit because she'd given me old one away.
Got too fat.
But yeah, it was nothing good about it, but it was plenty of people around, so it was okay.
Beautiful send-off.
It was terrible telling people that, you know, that she'd passed away. Some of our neighbours were really, really devastated. The old lady across the road was just broke down in tears, was on the ground. We had to pick her up and say, because she'd be over there too. You know, she'd never come here without going across the road to see our neighbour, and you know, she was just completely, totally distraught. She was. They were all sitting back, you know, a little girl in intensive care for 18 days. They were all thinking and thinking and thinking, and I didn't want to hear the news when we come, so it still was a shock when it come. All that was bloody hard work and just devastating for everybody concerned. But it all sort of went smoothly, and you know, we were at the point where, oh, we don't need limousines and we don't need this, we don't need that, and we booked it all, and I'm glad we did because we needed it. And of course, the limousine broke down right at the church, which was very good. Broke down at the church. Had to get another one to replace it. It was. It all went smoothly. Nobody knew until afterwards. It was a different car, but it was not. And the funeral was absolutely
beautiful.
Beautiful. But, if you could call it that, but we tried. Everybody tried to make it beautiful, and it was. A lot of people put in a lot of effort to make it beautiful, and amazing time, amazing people, and the crowd was unbelievable. The people that turned up for the little girl, I couldn't believe. You know, and, you got to make it as nice as you can, but it's shit.
How would you describe grief, or your experience of grief?
It's like your heart's been ripped out. I woke up one night and I said to Brian, I've got a broken heart, because that's what I felt like. Every morning at 3 o'clock I'd wake up, couldn't sleep, make a Milo, go back to bed, and just think, why, you know? Think, why has God taken so young, you know? Only 3, it should have been me, because I'm the one that had all the problems. And you just can't believe, you just can't get over it. Grief's always going to be there. It just might just get a little bit easier, but you'll never forget, never, you know.
It doesn't go away. It's always there. I get in the middle of meetings. I'll just sit there because they're all talking and it's going on and on and on, and it's all about stuff that we could have done with a different way. And you know, you'll start thinking about other things, and you know, all of a sudden you get a tear run down your face, and they go, huh, "What's going on?" So it never turns off. It's just some days it's better than others, and you do learn to cope with it. You learn to face it away and put it in the background, but little things bring it back. And it's hard to turn that little girl, beautiful little girl, off, I can tell you.
No.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's
You look at everyone else that's 3, or you hear them and they talk, or they got little curls in their hair, and you just think, wonder what Marley would have looked like at, at 4 actually, like it's going on to 4. And all you think of all their birthdays, Christmas, little things that they would have said if you did something wrong, Nanny, don't do that. Nanny, you're naughty. You know what I mean? So it was
Where's
sort
my
of,
prawns?
yeah, where's my prawns? I'm hungry. Yeah. So you had to feed her. She's a bit like me, actually. When I get hungry, I get cranky. And that was Marley. You had to feed her first.
But it just, grief is something that you
It's hard.
yeah, and I
Unless it happens to you, no one knows really what you're actually going through until it actually happens.
And I think it'll be different for different things. Like I know, I've lost my dad, and I've lost other people close to me, and you can get through that and move around it, and I miss the old guy across the road tremendously, but it doesn't concern me or doesn't affect me like it does losing my little granddaughter. It's just somebody was in my house, was in my bed for days, and you just it's a different level of
Wake up and change their nappy.
Yeah,
Even that as a grandparent.
No, it's a different. I think it's one day it might get easier, but at the moment, if you turn it on, it's not easy. You just got to push it back and hold it down, and then when it comes out, it's like me. I can talk about it all day long, but I'm going to cry when I talk about it. That's the way it is. It just. And the tears will come before the second word comes out. It's just how it is. And, maybe that will stop one day, I don't know. Maybe not.
Do you think the grief has been a different experience for each of you, or do you think that you've had a similar experience?
I try to hold up a lot easier, better for Brian, because I know he just has to mention it once and start up. It's probably been about the same, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Chris definitely holds up a lot stronger with it than I do.
I hide it. I'm behind closed doors.
She'll get cranky about it, whereas I'll sort of get emotional about it. I've been to a counsellor about it, just because it was available to me. I used it. I thought it was really good. He did a fantastic job. He was a very good listener, and did it help me? Not as I walked out the door, but I know that it has helped me, and I think down the track it'll help me a lot. And I'd encourage anybody to go and do it, because he needed more tissues than he had, and because I cried all the way through it, and I let it out, and I think that's what I need to do, and he encouraged that, and it's something that I wanted to do it myself anyway, and then people at work encouraged me to go and do it, and in fact the lady at work insisted I go and do it. She wouldn't back off, and I thank her heaps for it, because it's a reality check. This has happened to you, and it affects you, and it's there. Our work puts it on.
Do you think that you've changed as grandparents after going through this?
Yeah, I have. We have. We spoiled the other one. I think, well, if you're going to know you're not going to have them that long, you sort of tend to want to, give them everything and give them as much love as you can, and ring them up every couple of days and make sure they're all right. And they're all right, but yeah, I just, I wished I'd done things differently. I just think that I should have done things differently. But, you don't know. You don't know what day's going to happen around the corner. So you just take one day at a time. And when this happened, it just blew us away, didn't it? We probably changed for the better, I think.
But it's hard to say whether you've changed or not. I've definitely changed. I've become a lot more accepting of the fact that it's just going to flow on like that. Don't worry about it. Whereas before I'd go to work and try and fix it. Well, now it'll be still there on Monday. Boss probably doesn't want to hear that, but it'll definitely still be there on Monday. So go and do what you got to do. I'm at the same time unaccepting of some other people. I get very upset if I see other parents going ballistic at their children. I sort of break down and cry really, because I think, oh shit, do you realise what you got? Because when you haven't got it, it's gone forever. And I've done it. I've had to tell one lady one day that, lady, just appreciate what you got now. While you got them, appreciate it, because she was going berserk in the shop at the kids. The kids were probably mucking up, but she was going berserk and upsetting the whole shop, actually. She upset me. I was just said it. I was crying when I said it, and I just had to walk away. I couldn't do anything more. But I wouldn't have never done that before. But we've changed, and for the better, I'd say. And we do spoil that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have her every minute of the day if I could. So. And just not, like when they used to come over, knock at the door, hello, Nanny. You know what I mean? You don't get that, you're just waiting for the day that they walk in that door. But it never happened.
Being grandparents who've experienced the death of a grandchild, how would you describe that as being different?
I mean, when your mum or your dad go, they've had a good life, and I mean, you miss them, you love them, and you go through the same. But it's not as what would you say? It's not as bad as it's easy to get over in the long run, But it's not for a granddaughter. It's your blood, you know what I mean? That's what you think, And I feel for Beck, and I feel for Sam, and I feel for Mia. And when it's, just party is gone, just gone. My mum's been dead, 14 years, and I love her dearly, but it's a grief that you get over a lot quicker than what you can with a grandchild or part of your own, It's just, and it's been a child, Child's the hardest. I mean, even if it was an adult, it's just harder to get over it. I mean, it's been nearly 2 years now, and it's felt like yesterday.
Yeah, it's I don't know how Beck feels. It's terrible, and I feel bad, really bad about it. I can't say any other word, that I don't know how to feel else about it. And she must feel terrible, and it's just something that you got to help everybody through. You can just. There's no way of getting around it. You build up, you'll get over it, you'll get through it. Eventually, it'll happen. I've had some people say, it gets easier, and a lady at work said it. And she says, you never get over it, but it does get easier. She'd lost a sister when she was 15, and she said it does get easier, but you never get over it. So how I'm not quite sure how you move through that. We'll just try it one day at a time and see how we go. And as long as if you're identifying that somebody's lost the plot for a little while, you got to just stand out of the way and let them lose it, or make sure they don't bloody lose it too bad. So I think that's all you can do. There's no other. If that's me or my daughter or my son-in-law, you've just got to. If he wants to go and yell at me for a couple of hours, let him go, because it's not going to hurt him to do that. You've got to. You can't tell him to bottle it up, because that's not going to work. That's definitely not going to work. You just got to let it be released as best we can.
And what are some of the ways that you found to release your grief?
Reading books. I could go and do that, and it'll sort of turn me off for a while. That's how I can do it. being busy at work sort of helps a lot.
Yeah, keep yourself occupied. But then things do come up when you're alone by yourself. You tend to think a lot, wondering a lot, why questions haven't been answered, But yeah, just keep occupied and be around friends and family and sort of things like that. Keep yourself busy. That's the main thing, is when you sit down and you wilt on it, like you think about it 24/7. I still think about it. I go to work and a song will come on, I could think about it. I think about little things that Marley would have said and done. She's in my brain 24/7. I'll never forget, never, ever. Doesn't matter where I am, I could be in the bath and I still think, everywhere I go, she's with me. She's here. Yeah.
If somebody wants to talk about it with you, talk about it. Yuck away about it, and I'll still cry. I'll yuck away about it. And in fact, the other day I showed you, I've got the video eulogy. I've got it on my computer, so I can just straight onto YouTube, and up it comes, and I'll sit there and cry and watch it. But everybody else has to listen to it at the same time. So, if somebody wants to know about it, do everything you can, because that's what I do. But if I try and read a book on the way home, so it sort of takes my mind off the whole thing. But I suppose it does get easier. There's no doubt about it. It's moved from one point to another. You're not struggling at the same point you were before, but it definitely sucks. It sucks.
How do you think your family has changed after going through this?
We're closer. We were pretty close before, but I think we're even more closer now. We'd accept it. As I said before, if somebody needs to yell, just go and yell. And this one's quite good at sort of bossing everyone out and yelling, and just yell. Don't worry about it too much. She'll stop yelling. And just a way of getting around it. She doesn't yell too bad, but you want to get it out, and you won't be visible that you're getting it out about that. It'll just be a frustration, and you have to be more tolerant of that. And again, I think it becomes more closer with it. Because you understand that it's there and it's not going to go away. So there's no point saying calm down about it, because just get around it and say, oh, let her off a little bit. She's getting hungry and tired. No, got to feed her, and that'll fix it. But it becomes it's just got to be more tolerant and more accepting and more understanding, and that's all happened. I think it's and we've all got our little times out. Some fams goes fishing and Beck does her thing, and they want to do that. Well, we look after them. Mia, and we want to do our thing, they'll organise something for us. So it's more, we're definitely closer together, I think. It's a bloody hell of an experience to go through. So, and to say you're not close after it would be pretty hard. So,
what are some of the ways that you remember Marley? Do you have any rituals or anything that you do?
Yeah, we got a little candle and photos all in one spot. And every time I walk past, I wave. Every time. And it's just something we do. We have it on. We don't have a candle on every day. We try to have an electronic one now, but they don't seem to work too well. The old natural, old good candles there, it's there, and we use that. And, we have we do that in the house every day, and but we have on a birthday we
still celebrate.
We go out for dinner and have a celebrate at the pub, and not get drunk, go to dinner. Just go to dinner, and we just do little odd things.
Still put the things on the Christmas tree, even though she's not here.
Yeah, she's
still with us,
Yeah, and we go down to the cemetery every
Sunday.
at least once a fortnight, if not once a week. And make sure it's immaculately trimmed, the grass is cut, and we do all we can to remember is every time we can remember, we try and remember them. We always go and buy flowers at the flower shop, not at the cemetery, because they're better quality at the flower shop. So we spend $5 more than we probably need to, but we go and do it anyway. So, and yeah, all those sorts of little things. And, yeah, do lots of little things, and just
never forgotten.
Yeah.
What's been helpful for you in dealing with your grief?
The counselling helped. As I said, I don't know exactly how it helped, but it definitely did help. I didn't have a bright light come on when I walked outside the door, but I think it helps you relax. You definitely come out of it understanding that people know what you're going through. The psychologist definitely knows what you're going through.
And you know you're not the only one dealing with it. You know there's a lot more out there that are dealing with what we're going through as well. So we're not on our own. We're not alone.
The counselling at the hospital and the memorial at the hospital was a fantastic thing. That was fantastic, and it's a good thing. You know, there's so many people there, and they all got the same problem. All sort of the same thing we had happen. And they're just all there for a reason, and not a good reason. We just
all there to support each other.
Yeah, so it's just support. If you've got a bit of support, or if you haven't got any, go and find something, because there'll be people there willing to help, no matter what. If you want to go along and ask for a hug, and there's a reason you need a hug, somebody will hug you, and particularly if they know. So, and people have got to do that, I think. And we do that. We don't. We always help each other out as much as we can about it. I don't think there's any real thing that's going to. Nothing's going to turn a bright light on and say it's all fixed. Because it ain't going to happen.
Not going to come back.
But it's yeah, just little things help. That's all. Go and have a picnic down the cemetery. There's only things that can help, and that's we sort of do that and try to do that. And,
have there been any positives to come out of this experience for you?
Long term, I think, as I said, we're probably closer together, and we probably love each other more, and probably more understanding. But if you count them as positive, as they probably are, but yeah, there's no bright lights positives coming out of it.
Is there anything else that you would like grandparents to know about this process?
You just got to be there, and grandparents have got to be there not only for themselves. They've got to be there and this is how the grandparents feel. You've got to be there for your kids. You've got to be there for your grandchildren, the other grandchildren, and they're not going to go away. So you can't. And as a grandparent, you think, well, I'm going to back away. I can back away, and the old story, love them today and end them back tomorrow. You can't do that, because everybody's your child, and they're all suffering. You've got to, and one of the reasons I went to counselling was, well, I'm going to counselling. If I can go, everybody can go. It's not really a big sissy thing to do. You can go and all go and do it. Well, I haven't got any of them along to it yet, but it's something they can do. And but it's as a grandparent, you don't have to be the pillar of society either. In the leader of the pack, you can be just as big a heap of mess as anybody else can be. So you need help as much as anybody, as your kids need help, as your grandkids need help, and you got to help each other. You got to get through it all together. That's what I think. If you're a grandparent, don't stand up and think you're alone, because you're not. And because it's not alone. I'm not alone. And your kids, you don't have to. You can be there for your kids as much as you possibly can, but at the same time, you've got to be there for yourself. Because if you don't put yourself forward, the next thing's going to happen. You're no good, and then the kids have got another problem. So you got to as a grandparent, you got to look after yourself as well as look after everybody else, but don't forsake yourself. And like us, we've sort of got off our butt and gone and lost weight and did things and to try and make it all better. And it's improving it and making it all better. But you got to. It's all a moving forward thing. I think you got to concentrate on that. Tomorrow's tomorrow. If you did something wrong today, don't worry about it. You don't have to do the same thing tomorrow. But if you got to look after yourself as well as the kids. That'd be my sort of play on it. You got anything more, Bo?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.